I'm getting tired of your bullshit!
A disappointing game is not necessarily a bad game. It just couldn't live up to expectations. An even worse offense is, of course, when a game is bad and disappointing. But let's not discuss terminologies too long and get started with this video. We selected 10 games that had so much potential, or were made by developers and studios with such a good rep, but still managed to disappoint us. This is the top 10 most disappointing games of 2016.
Just found some leftover pie in the fridge that I am honor-bound to scarf down before we head out.
A while ago, Platinum Games worked on an action game based on the animation series The Legend of Korra. It was rubbish. Transformers Devastation was another licensed game they worked on. It was pretty decent, actually. So when they announced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants in Manhattan, we had high hopes. But the game doesn't even feature local co-op. And even though the combat is decent, the level design and generic enemies you battle lack imagination. Even the boss fights aren't that impressive. When you think about the Ninja Turtles, you think about action games. And when you think about action games, you think about Platinum Games. Yet, despite all the building blocks there, Mutants in Manhattan is an utter disappointment. Battleborn tried to capitalize on the overwhelming popularity of MOBA-like games. It had everything, ranging from a cast of colorful and diverse characters to an interesting take on the genre with an FPS twist.
Ow! Those were my bones, you nitwit! I need those! Probably!
However, the gameplay ended up being pretty boring. At its core, it revolves around tried and tested formulas that already have been done better in other games. And at the moment 2K launched Battleborn, Blizzard was stealing the spotlight with Overwatch. Battleborn is not a bad game, but it could never really shine the way it was supposed to. There was a lot of hype revolving around Tom Clancy's The Division, and Ubisoft did an awesome job at blending third-person action with elements from massive online games. But after playing the game for like 15 to 20 hours, gameplay got boring.
Hope we can count on you and yours this time, because we got a hell of a fight ahead of us.
The competitive Dark Zone became more risk than reward, and the PvE endgame became a grind very quickly. On top of that, the PC version was easily hacked, making PvP in The Division even more unusable. Many patches and updates later, The Division has fixed some of these errors, but many gamers already put the game aside.
So my best friend is out of prison and she doesn't even come to visit?
After the financial disaster that was the first Mirror's Edge, fans have been waiting and asking for a sequel for years. It truly was an amazing game that was simply misunderstood. Mirror's Edge Catalyst provided an open world full of free running and parkour, but there wasn't that much else to do in it. The gameplay of Catalyst became repetitive quickly. Even the fun stuff becomes quite boring when you have to do the same type of missions dozens of times. We feel EA knew this, as the release of Mirror's Edge Catalyst went by quite unnoticed. We guess they didn't have a faith?
I figured we could ask some questions.
I don't know anything. What did you do to our friend?
Aha! Battle formations! Now!
Gotcha!
The Star Fox franchise has been held in high regard for many years. The series was amazing on the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64, and even had a nice outing on the GameCube. But Star Fox Zero for Wii U was on many levels below par.
Not you too, Fox!
In terms of graphical quality, it looks like a remastered version of the GameCube game. Worse even is that Star Fox Zero simply plays like shit. The need to move the Wii U gamepad to aim around feels awkward and is frustrating to say the least. This awkwardness doesn't simply go away, you don't really get used to it. It's super annoying, and that makes Star Fox Zero extremely disappointing to its fans.
Jeez Louise, what is that? Enemy drones!
Homefront The Revolution is the second game in a pretty new franchise. The game was already in development for years by 3 different game studios. But even with all that expertise, Homefront The Revolution was worse than its predecessor. The launch was one incoherent mess, and the open-world gameplay was super generic. At launch, Homefront The Revolution was so buggy it became almost unplayable. It was gaming comedy, really.
Your face up.
I know what that
Fuck yeah!
There are truly cool ideas in this game, but it never stands out. Not in story, not in gameplay, and certainly not in its graphics. The title makes it sound like a B-movie, and that's about right in our book. After dozens of Street Fighter IV versions, fans were eager to get their hands on the newest iteration of the famous fighting franchise. But Capcom did something nobody expected. Street Fighter V was released as an unfinished product. It shipped with a mediocre online multiplayer mode, allowing you to play versus, casual or ranked. Thankfully, it had local versus, but it lacked any single-player content.
No, you're wrong. That can't be the only answer.
On top of that, Capcom had not figured out how to deal with the rage quitters, and the online servers were very unstable. The Japanese gaming company basically tried to sell its fighting game as an early access title. And to top that off, it promised new characters as paid DLC. A dagger through the hearts of your most loyal fans. Now that's a major disappointment.
That's incredible! Totally awesome!
Mighty number 9 です。
Inafune is known as the godfather of Mega Man, but after his departure from Capcom, he no longer uses that brand. That's why he crowdfunded a game that's very much like Mega Man, but with the title Mighty Number 9. The Mega Man series is known for its hardcore action platforming, and fans were eager for more. But Mighty Number 9 turned out to be a huge disappointment. Uninspired level design, simple enemies, and a character that looks like he belongs on Cartoon Network upset a lot of gamers. If you want Mega Man on your modern console, get the Mega Man Legacy Collection. But please forget about Mighty Number 9. Having nothing would be better than this lackluster product.
And at the end of the day, even if it's not perfect, it's better than nothing. At least that's my opinion.
Up into the past. I tried to change things.
Microsoft and Remedy Entertainment made a game that was all about blending a television series with gameplay. On top of that, Quantum Break would feature a time-bending mechanic that would make bullet time look outdated. Gameplay and its story would be console-defining experiences that nobody has seen before. But in the end, Quantum Break was just a decent third-person action game with about 15 hours of cutscenes. Add the additional Quantum Break television show, and you were watching more than you were actually playing.
Back up slowly. Yeah.
Expectations were very high, but in the end, Quantum Break fell short on every promise. When it comes to building up hype, No Man's Sky was really reaching for the skies. Perhaps no other game released in 2016 was met with so much hype as this PC and PlayStation 4 game. And in the end, this game fell into a bottomless pit. The developers hinted at multiplayer gameplay, but that turned out to be a lie.
Will you be able to play with your friends?
Yeah.
Can you grief other players?
A little bit.
Can you customize the look of your character?
Sort of.
On top of that, the actual gameplay is very repetitive and boring. The game doesn't seem to have any real purpose. The universe is lacking diversity as many planets are sort of the same. Space stations are identical copies, and gravity is the same everywhere. No Man's Sky could have been something amazing, but it ended up being a disappointment of galactic proportions.
Some people might expect things that aren't in the game, you know.
Did you buy any of the games mentioned on this list? And do you share our feelings? Or do you maybe have some games to add to this list? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button as a way to share some positivity after all this negative talk about disappointing video games.